Today, on episode 76 of the Signature Style Systems podcast, we're exploring how wardrobe changes can become a powerful catalyst for personal growth. I'm Rebecca Mielke. As your visual identity guide, I take you on a journey of self-discovery so you can align your inner and outer self, show up confidently, and contribute your gifts to the world. As your first step to self-discovery, I invite you to download my free guide, Discover Your Style DNA, a guide to seasonal energy and personality colors. Find the link in the show description or at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. So, one of the women who showed up at my online workshop last December was someone who I've known since we were little kids. When I asked everyone to share why they joined the workshop, here's what she said. In changing this season's wardrobe from summer to winter, I got rid of a lot and then I went shopping. And I can't tell you the dynamics it made in how I feel about myself and my approach to things. I really feel like there's a lot of things that have opened up to me as far as my business is concerned, and also in my personal life. Just recently, just because of that, the movement in my wardrobe kind of translated to movement in my own life. Don't you love that? My friend she'd just been listening to this podcast, getting my emails, and thinking about being more intentional about reflecting herself in her wardrobe. Also, she had me profile her for her personality. She also had been recently transitioning she had quit teaching and she is now a self-employed consultant. So the movement in her life is coming at a really exciting time. So here's what's really happening when we change our wardrobe in a meaningful way. First, when we remove items that no longer feel authentic, we're actually making space, not just in our closets, but like in our lives. We're saying, this isn't me anymore. And that's a profound act of like standing with yourself. Second, when we choose new items that feel more aligned with who we are, we're making a statement about our identity, uh, first to ourselves, but then also to the world. And this creates kind of a virtuous cycle. Think about it like this. When your outside matches who you are on the inside, you're actually magnifying the impact of your presence. People respond differently to you because they're seeing more of the real you. And then this creates a kind of a magnetic pull, both in terms of personal charisma and in attracting the right opportunities. Um, so I've experienced this myself. Since I began really aligning my wardrobe with my authentic self, I've gone from people's eyes glazing over when I start talking about color and style, and then now they perk up and pay attention because what I wear is now in harmony with who I am. I am like seen and trusted when I speak up about these things. So now I want to talk about cognitive functions and how our personality types can help point us toward our signature style. So if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, you know that each of us has preferences for how we interact with the world and process information. These preferences form patterns called cognitive functions. And this goes back to Carl Jung. So before the Myers-Briggs type indicator was developed, it was developed using the cognitive functions that Carl Jung had observed in the people he was working with. So as we mature, especially like by midlife, we naturally begin developing and integrating parts of our personality that were less expressed in our younger years. And then our wardrobe can both reflect and support this integration process. So back to my friend. During our personality profiling session, my friend discovered that she has introverted preferences. And that's something she hadn't, because she's not shy at all. So that's something she hadn't really fully recognized about herself. She told me in the online workshop, I found out I'm an introvert, and it helps me, it really helped define a lot of what my motivations are for doing things. And it was an important step for me to kind of figure that out myself. So her wardrobe changes came after she had this insight. And I believe those changes weren't just reflecting her introversion, but actually helping her integrate her less developed extroverted functions, which is exactly what supports growth for introverts. Okay, so how cognitive functions show up in your wardrobe. Let's talk about how understanding your cognitive functions can guide your wardrobe choices in a way that supports your growth. If you're an introvert, you have two extroverted functions, you'll naturally want to develop and integrate two of the following four. They are extroverted sensing, the function that connects us to the physical world through our senses. If you're developing this function, you might find yourself drawn to clothes with interesting textures, vibrant colors, or details that create sensory impact. The second one is introvert or extroverted, start over, extroverted intuition. So this function helps us see possibilities and connections. As you develop this function, you might find yourself experimenting with creative combinations, mixing patterns or eras in unexpected ways. Okay, so the third one is extroverted thinking. This function creates structure and organization in the external world. And then as you integrate this, you might be drawn to more structured looking pieces, tailoring, or strategic wardrobe planning. And if that's your thing, stick around here. And then the final extroverted function is extroverted feeling. And this is the function that helps us connect with and respond to other people's emotions. And as you develop this function, you might become more aware of how your clothing is impacting other people, how it creates harmony in social settings and that type of thing. So anyway, if you're an introvert, do you recognize any of these extroverted functions as being important considerations for you in your wardrobe? Now, if you're an extrovert, you're going to be developing or integrating two introverted functions. And here's the four options. One is introverted sensing. So this function connects us to our personal history and traditions. And as you develop this, you might incorporate signature pieces or wardrobe concepts that have personal meaning or connect to your heritage. Second, introverted intuition. This helps us focus on a singular vision or perspective. If you're integrating this, your wardrobe might just become more cohesive. And you might also notice yourself just kind of knowing which trends are going to catch on and work for you. Introverted thinking. This function creates internal frameworks and precision. As you develop it, you might become more self-referential, just wearing what makes sense to you. And then introverted feeling. This function connects us to our values and our identity. As you integrate that, your wardrobe choices might become more authentic to your personal values, even if that means going against like what people are expecting from you. So if you're curious about understanding your personality type more deeply, I offer personality profiling sessions that can help you identify your cognitive functions and how they influence your personal style. This insight can be transformative for your wardrobe and your personal growth journey. It supports you in both. And you can learn more at my website, signaturestylesystems.com. So here's some ideas for applying these insights to your own wardrobe. Notice what you're naturally drawn to now, not like what you think you should wear, but what actually feels right. And then pay attention to the emotional feedback you get from your wardrobe choices. So if you get a little lift internally, so I'm really sorry if this is messy. I've got a tickle in my throat and I keep stopping. Okay, so I was in the middle of a sentence. That lift that you feel when you wear certain items it's valuable data to you about what your authentic and signature style is. And then notice external feedback too. When people respond to you differently, if they respond to you in the way you want to be responded to, it's often because they're seeing more of your authentic self. Here's something to try this week. Choose one item in your wardrobe that doesn't feel quite right anymore and just see if you can identify why, or just get rid of it. Thanks so much for being here for the Signature Style Systems podcast. Have fun being you, and I will meet you back here again real soon.